Okay, yeah, today is October 20th, 2024, and this is the NGL intro, putting out fires to preparing for the long haul. And the power of responding to challenges by tenderly building individual and collective capacity.
Thank you. You managed to read the whole title without getting lost in it. Welcome, everyone. This is a conversation. This is not a presentation. And so I'm inviting everyone to turn on your camera so that we can be together. There isn't givers and receivers. There's all of us coming together to see what we can co-create. I'm not going to pretend like I don't have some knowledge or ideas or experience or expertise. We're not equals. There is something I'm holding here, but we are all together, and I want to be in that field. So anyone who can, please do. Thank you. And I would like to invite first the two people that I have not met before, or maybe three. There's Rachel, Ilona, and Ahmed. Ahmed and I have participated in email conversations for years now, but we've never met. So I'm very excited to see you, and I am interested in hearing from you. What brought you here? What is your purpose for being here? What are you hoping to get from this? This is how I start the conversation. What brings people here? What is the purpose? And then we'll go from there. So is one of you up for being first?
I can go.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm here to say hello, first of all.
Okay, bye.
And then I think I was attracted to the title. I usually watch videos, mainly because my mind is I'm a slow thinker, and it takes me. I can only watch in chunks because I need time to process everything. But the title, what attracted me to this title is that, as an educator, this is something I've been aware of for a while. And I worry about it, that what students are getting, I teach at a college, what students are being given, the knowledge and skills and so on, they are not going to be very helpful in the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
And they need something very different. And I've been working on trying to figure out what exactly is it that students need, and how to convince other educators to change what they are trying to give their students.
Thank you. I appreciate you're not saying it, but I'm sensing it, that there is anguish at the heart of your inquiry. Anguish about where we are as a species and the grim prospects ahead of us. Am I accurate in this guess?
Yes, very much. I published a book last year, and it's called Teaching at Twilight.
Yeah.
And so the idea is we are at the end of something, and we need to teach differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On Thursday, I'm going to participate in present at a conference called Reimagining Education. Have you heard of that conference?
No, I have not.
I'll send you a link to it. And within that, I am focusing on how education can be brought in line with the maternal gifting paradigm. And it was really, really fascinating and demanding to actually make those links of what that is. And one of the early things that is paradoxical for me about specifically education in this time the paradox is some of us, like you and I, to some extent, see the bankruptcy of current models of education and see something else. Whether we see the same thing or not, you and I, is secondary, but we see something else that is possible. And then the question for me is, how do we bring that something else that we see as possible without falling into the trap of knowing what we're saying? Because the moment we say, oh, I know what we need to do, then we're back in the thing that we're trying to change. And I heard that when you said, I want to convince other educators to change. In the convincing, the energetics of convincing, for me, are within the thing that we're trying to change. And that's part of the delicacy for me of this whole work, is how to align means with ends. I'm wondering if this speaks to you at all, or do you feel alone in where you are, even as I say this?
Are you asking about the convincing part?
Yes.
Well, what I've found is that people like me, intellectuals with PhDs and professors, we don't easily change our minds. Regardless of how much information or evidence or arguments show up. We tend to be very conservative. So this is something else that that's on my mind. How to share whatever I want to share in a way that does not raise more defenses on the other side. And regarding being alone, yes, I'm pretty much, well, I know colleagues in other parts of the country who are interested, who are doing things, but where I am, it's hard to hard to move things.
Yeah. I want to say two things. One is that this thing of difficulty in changing our minds is not unique to professors. It's everywhere. Second, I have accepted that none of us in general change our minds based on data, facts, arguments, or anything like that. We change our minds when we do based on relationship. Engaging at the relational level and making contact with people. And when you say that you want to present things in a way that creates fewer defenses, my experience is that the more I am able to give the other person a sense that they are understood and what matters to them is held by me, the less protective they will be. Yeah. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
I hope there's meaning for you in what we do today. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm curious if anybody has any follow-up. There isn't going to be any agenda. I'm literally going to do what I have done so far. I talked with Ahmed. This is what arose. I'll talk with other people, and the questions of how we release certain things and accept the immense necessity for focusing on capacity growth. That's my main theme, but I will talk with anyone about whatever they bring forward. So it's like, that's why I'm saying this is ours to create. Ilona, would you go next?
Yeah, sure. Hello, Mickey. Hello, everyone. So it's my totally first time showing up in one of your gatherings. I came to, or I learned about, I'm from Germany, and I learned about your work from the Women in White.
Uh-huh.
So I was really completely blown away and very glad to see, to read about it and to go through the commitment and, thought of showing up for it. And while I went through the questionnaire, I just realized, okay, my capacity is definitely not where it would need to be. And I got curious, so I looked up what possibility do you offer to just get an idea of how to get more into it. And here I am. But I have also a lot of other, I'd say, areas in my life and interests, you could say, where I believe I can learn a lot from you and the field. So
Thank you. Yeah, the capacity question is huge. It's like an explosion in possibility when we start thinking about things. At least I have found it, to start thinking about things very rigorously. Do you know the word rigor? Very rigorously through the capacity lens. Because one of the things that it brings for me again and again and again is I look at the horrors that are happening in the world, and two things immediately arise. One is, I want this to change. The other is, I can't do that. I don't actually have the capacity to create the change that I want to see. And in that gap arises a very, very deep exploration that starts with mourning and mourning and mourning and mourning, that I don't have the capacity to do what I want to see. And from then, once I release that this has to change and recognize it can't, not now, not by me, then the question is, what is the capacity that I have? What is it that I can do within that capacity? Not with the capacity I wish I had, but the capacity that I actually have. And while I do that, where can I increase my capacity so that I can do more? Not do more as in overstretch and stretch more and more and more, but do more as in be more effective, either by increasing it in a variety of ways. I can increase my strengths, deepen what strengths I already have. I can identify particularly strategic limitations that limit me. Like, for example, there's someone within NGL that I identified that a key limitation for her is that she doesn't speak English well enough to do the things within NGL that she wants to do. So I lost track of it. I connected her with people who agreed to offer her support with learning English. And I haven't closed the loop, but that's a way. It's like that's a strategic limitation. Once she has more capacity with English, she can do more things within NGL that match her actual capacities that are limited by the English. That's strategic. But not every limitation is strategic, because a lot of people get logged into this spiral of, okay, I'll take care of my next limitation, then my next limitation, then my next limitation, then my next limitation, then my next limitation. And here's the trauma, and here's the healing. And that's all they do. And they never actually say, okay, with who I am now, what can I already do? So it's building on my strengths, attending to the necessary limitation, and then looking for the openings that are within my sphere of influence. This is how the Women in White Project was born. It's not something I can do. I really can't. I can imagine it. I can even do the broad lines of design, but I can't do it. It's not my skill set. So, but the opening is the relationship with Ida, and the fact that there are multiple people on the mailing list of both NGL and Tamara. So then we took the step of reaching out. and now it exists, and now it reached you, and now we don't know what's going to happen. But it's this. And really what people do more often than not is focus on spiraling through their limitations and spiraling through the helplessness and disempowerment around obstacles instead of focusing primarily on strengths and openings. Yeah, so that's what's coming to me as I'm speaking with you, and I'm wondering if there's anything that this brings up for you that you would like to say next.
Or maybe simply that it's so it just lands very well, and it's so true. And I was so fascinated by exactly what you just described, just seeing how this project grew. And when I stepped into to learn about it, you already had a steward team, but just knowing how it evolved, it was like, wow, you did really well. I mean, that this is possible, and it obviously keeps growing, and the level of distinctions within the questionnaire was just like, for me, mind-blowing.
Yes,
learn
yes,
can be done, and I'm in the process of like really baby steps. It's the first time that I do that, but building a network here in Germany around our relationship with places and the more than human people like. And so it just feels I can learn a lot from that, from what you
yes. This is another application of the capacity lens, which is what we've come to call baseline capacity, which is when we want to do something, to make something happen, what is actually the capacity that we need in people who would do that? And it's very tempting to just say, oh, we need to do this project. Whoever comes, come, let's do it. And then they come and they don't have the capacity, they don't have the integration, they don't even have the commitment to nonviolence. Then you end up the rest of your time just dealing with conflicts when there isn't sufficient alignment. So being able to actually say, no, we cannot work with everyone. We need these capacities in place. And then great, you have these capacities. How do you select for them? How to create capacity assessment tools that are very highly self-assessed, so that I am not in a position so much to say no, so that you fill out your capacity assessment, but you already kind of know whether it's going to be a yes or a no because you have filled out the numbers and you know. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I'm wondering if anyone has any follow-up. I forgot to ask after Ahmed spoke whether anyone had any follow-up to that. So I'm going to pause on that and see if there's anyone who has any follow-up to what the questions that arose through Ilona before moving to the next person who would like to share what brought you here. I'm particularly interested always in engaging with people that I've not engaged with before. But any follow-up to what Ilona raised? Comments, questions, appreciations, concerns, anything? Clear and simple, all of it? All right. So I'll jump to another person that I may have not met, but I'm not sure. Rachel, have we met before?
Nikki, would you shift your camera a bit down? You're just seeing your head.
Yes. Thank you.
I participated in some of your courses. I don't think we've ever spoken, but it's wonderful. Thank you. What brings me here? I think one, I'm feeling super anxious, and that's true of my life in general, just in coming up on a transitional period where I'm sort of reassessing my own capacity and looking for a vision for a new place, new way to plug in, and more on a concrete level, possibly translating from doing therapy, couples therapy especially, to more systemic work.
Wow. I just want to say, first of all, that I'm very touched. It's nourishing to me. It's nourishing to me when somebody is seeing the shift from the individual to the systemic. I see that as a capacity increase in terms of capacity to hold and engage with the realities of what we face in the world. If it's like one couple at a time, it's different. And but there is an intermediate step, and I don't know if you have considered this, which is working with couples from a systemic perspective. I'm wondering if you have considered that.
Can you say more?
Yes, for example, if you are working, let's say, with a couple where, I'm just making it up, one person is from the global south and one person is from the global north. Being able to frame their conflicts to them from a systemic perspective of power differences. I'll give you a very simple example. Many years ago, I moved from Israel, which is where I'm from, to the United States in 1983. In 1989, so that's 6 years later, I got into a relationship with a guy who happened to be the last guy that I was in a romantic relationship with, but that's not a big deal. And we broke up 2.5, 3 years later. And we remained not super deep friends, but we remained friends. This was 1989 to 1991, something like this. 2 years later, out of the blue, he sends me an email telling me that he finally understands how much our relationship was shaped by me having been an immigrant and him having a US-centric perspective on everything and how that shaped the relationship. All these 30-something years later, that was balm for my soul. And it was purely systemic. That's an example. Do you see what I mean by that?
Yeah. Actually, the frisson it's giving me is about working more with couples who are not staying together, because that is, yeah. Anyway.
Yes, the systemic lens can give them a way to go through that transition with care and tenderness, and not with resentment and separation.
It reminds me of the way you talked about conflict. It means you have to broaden what you're holding. It means that there's stuff that's not being held and seen.
Yes, and since we're talking about the capacity lens, there's another element which is a much wider systemic element, and that is that the couple as a unit is a super patriarchal construct within patriarchal societies. It sustains and perpetuates the levels of systemic oppression that exist, in part because a twosome is a very weak unit, capacity-wise. Because the moment, oh, this is touching you.
Sorry, Mickey, at one point you had said that in a previous training, and then you said that single parenting is suicidal. And that's just been so sweet for me, trying to keep my single parenting life going, and it just comes up. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is a complex, thin layer that, at least in some cases, single mothering can be easier in certain contexts than having
Simpler.
a man in addition, simpler than having a man in addition to take care of. Not all relationships are like that, but it is a phenomenon. It's a systemic phenomenon. I don't have current data, but at a certain point, I had data about rates of depression. And the most depressed group are married women with small children, the most depressed group. Single women with small children are less depressed. That tells you something. And one, I'm not remembering if it was the next or two next, divorced men are very high on the depressed list. And when I think of that systemically, it's because they lose the implicit orientation to them that the overwhelming majority of women bring through their female training.
Orientation to them. Attention.
Yes, like if I'm female trained and you are a man, without thinking about it, I will orient to your needs. Thankfully, I'm not female. Well, I'm not a good product of female training. I failed that course miserably. I'm so happy about that. One course I really wanted to fail. So if I succeeded in the female training that was imposed on me, and you are a man, I will automatically and unconsciously orient to your needs. That means that if you are near me and we are in a couple, you receive benefits that neither you nor I are conscious of unless we become conscious. That is something you can do as a couple therapist, is increase that consciousness. And these are only examples. There's much more that you can do as a therapist with systemic awareness. It's radical to bring systemic awareness to individual therapy, and it takes discipline because it takes pulling your attention away from the focus on the idiosyncratic, which is always non-statistical, always, and simultaneously to move away from this, to hold it enough to remember that it's a human being in front of you, not a number, and move away from it enough to see that person in the statistical context of what has influenced them in the past and in the present. That is the task. It's a split, an internal split, rarely done. So you can be a pioneer. How's that reframe?
I'm still bored of therapy and I want to do something else, but I'm hearing the richness and the layers that you're inviting around this.
And so if you are, so when somebody is bored with something, I'm not done with you if that's okay, because if I'm looking through the capacity lens, if you are bored with something, that tells me that you are not engaging with it from within the totality of your capacity. You are disconnecting from it. I almost don't know the experience of being bored. So do you know what bores you about therapy? And I'm seeing two hands. I just want to land this somewhere, and then I'm happy to hear from you both.
I'm just exploring it. I'm just noticing it right now.
Mhm.
I'm trying to not kind of shame it out of awareness, right? Like I shouldn't be bored. I'm just kind of trying to make a little bit of space for the word bored comes up. I'm like, I'm bored. Is that even do I even allow myself to not?
Beautiful. Beautiful. If that's your path, then I would say, for now, a practice that I could give you to increase your capacity within what you're now doing is at the end of the day or beginning of the day, whenever it works for you, to do a bit of reflection time, to write down the thoughts that come up when you say, why am I bored? Just write them down. If you're willing to look at being bored, that means you have a lot of self-acceptance. So you can use that to probe one layer deeper. Why am I bored? What's boring about it? And I don't know, it could be people are telling me the same stories over and over again. But I'm just giving it as an example. But if that's the example, then the question is, what can I do to subvert the activity of telling me stories? Whatever the thing is that is boring, what can you do with it? I find that rather than deciding to leave or deciding to stay with whatever you're doing, seeing which parts of you can bring to what you're doing. You know, have you ever encountered the term right livelihood? It's a Buddhist term. And there are two ways that I have seen people understand it. I'm not a Buddhist scholar, but this little bit I've heard. One way is find the kind of work that is aligned with your purpose, aligned with your vision, aligned with your values, and go do that work. Another meaning that some people assign to right livelihood is stick with what you're doing. Make it align with your vision. Make it align with your values. Make it align with your purpose. Bring integrity to it. Change your relationships. Change how you do it. Radicalize what you're doing, etc. I met someone many years ago who was a professor of accounting. He was teaching accounting, and he was a Marxist. It's like, okay, is that a contradiction in terms or what? So I was very curious what he was doing in his teaching. And here's what he does. He brings the thick CPA, Certified Public Accountant thing that people need to study, brings it in the first week, puts it on the table, says, everybody come look at this book. This is the book that you will need to know in order to pass the exam, because this course is for you to be able to pass the CPA exam. So that's what you need to know. I'm not going to look at this book at all. This is yours. What we're going to do here, and what he was doing, is every week he would bring a newspaper article about some horrible thing that a corporation was doing or something like this, some news, analyzing that news from an accounting perspective. And he said to me, there is no subject that you can't radicalize. So that has stayed with me. And if any of these things that you do will increase your capacity and bring you more robustness within you, from within which you can discern whether it makes sense to stay or leave, not as a reaction to what you're doing, but as a reflection on it. That's a big capacity increase that I want for all of us, to make our decisions from reflection, from non-reactive discernment, and not from like, I can't stand this, so I really want that. Yeah. Enough for the moment, Rachel. Thank you. So, Philip and Natalie, were you within Rachel's thread somewhere? Philip? Or are you a different thread or within Rachel's thread?
I think it was within Rachel's thread. I think it's some of the things you said about depression and man, and I was kind of interested in you kind of talked about the side that is like the female training, and it kind of just resonated with me in the sense of that in a lot of communities and circles that I move, I see this thing that sort of in society as we do it in the West, men tend to kind of drift into some sort of non-space. There's sort of a non-space for men after a certain age, and they kind of seem to look to what to do with themselves. And part of that is lapsing into depression or workaholism or other things like that. And I was curious on you have any thoughts or ideas around building capacity, doing things that can help people build capacity in that arena to be less lost, and therefore perhaps eventually less depressed. At the moment, the way you described it seemed that this is mostly something they're getting from the outside because they don't know how to get it from within themselves. Have I understood that right? I'll stop here in my ramblings.
Thank you. I'm gonna take a step back and say that I was talking to Rachel, so I was focusing on female training. Where are you? You disappeared from my screen. Oh, there you are. I was focusing on female training. And you are a man, so I can focus on male training. Rachel didn't receive male training. Most of us don't. Some of us are clever enough, women, clever enough to figure out that there is something that men are trained to do that we are not, and we pick it up and we learn how to do it on top of what we are trained to do, whether we do that one or not. Christine and I have connected about that a number of times. I think 70% of them without even saying a word to each other, just looking and going, yeah, I know that. Because Christine and I have both made that move. I'll figure out how to do whatever is needed to do in a men's world without becoming like a man. But there is male training, which is different. And male training is brutal. The first thing I want to say about it is it's brutal. Always the training to prepare people to be in positions of domination is worse than the training to prepare people to be in position of subordination. Because in order to be in a position of domination, you need to lose access to your humanity in order to be able to see someone else as an object. It could be an object of sex, it could be an object of exploitation, it can be an object of all kinds of things. It doesn't really matter what it is, but to move from knowing I'm human, everyone else is human. There is something sacred and astonishing about that. Every moment of being with another human is a moment of grace. Moving from there to being able to see another human as an instrument or an obstacle. Either you're an instrument to getting my needs met, or you're an obstacle to getting my needs met. And that's all that you are. Because some version of it, all of us are trained into. It's not specific to male training, but it's enhanced for male training.
So this resonates a little bit with something I heard you say on another call, where you talked about the building this ability to recognize one's impacts and then warn them, rather than kind of go like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to carry on and pretend that it didn't happen and so on. And this, I think you described this as some sort of element of hardening. This seems to be part of this training.
Exactly.
Then. Okay.
Exactly. And years ago, I was sitting with a group. I don't remember exactly how the activity started, but basically it was inviting people to look at some version of their story of how they internalized oppression into them. One of the people in that group, his name, I'm going to make up a different name just on the off chance that anybody knows him. I'm picking a name that in English can be both a boy name and a girl name. And let's say the name is Pat. That can be Patrick and that can be Patricia. And he was 4 in the story. And there was a girl called Pat living in the neighborhood. And somebody taunted him one day and said, "Oh, your name is Pat. You're a girl." And in the moment of telling the story, what he was mourning specifically was that when he was 4, he already knew that being a girl is something he didn't want. That is the depth of it. And ever since then, when men ask me, what can I do to liberate myself? I tell them, not jokingly, do your best to be like a girl, not like a woman, like a girl. And why? Because all the qualities associated with girls are the qualities that men are trained out of, boys are trained out of, with brutal violence. If you don't do that, you get shit. So recovering those capacities is a key element to being able to have yourself back. Does that ring true somewhere, Philip?
I think so. Yeah, it's a really great vehicle for the what's gone wrong.
Yeah.
But when I look at it through that lens, it sounds even more difficult to now get a how a how vehicle that I can.
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about it because in 1996, I had an experience, a kind of like an epiphanous experience that was in a motel somewhere, nowhere in Indiana. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but I had a tantrum on my own where I was actually sitting on a bed and kicking and going like this on the bed and speaking out loud. I want my vulnerability back the way I had it as a child. And I decided that I was going to do that. It took me 20 years to complete the journey to my satisfaction. And I'm female. But I think at this point, especially if you stick within this community, it wouldn't take you 20 years. I was completely alone on this journey. I didn't have a community to hold me. So anybody taking it now, I think is probably, my guess would be a couple of years at most. You will make a massive dent if you do it. It took me 2 years to even understand what it means to do it. I just kept trying and not knowing because I thought to myself that I had to jump all the way to 100% vulnerability in every moment. And I couldn't do that. There was no nervous system muscle that knew what that would look like. But then I figured out that every moment has a little fork in the road where I can move my arm in this way or this way, and one is ever slightly more vulnerable than the other. Or I can use this word or that word, and one is ever more slightly vulnerable than the other. And that if I rigorously choose the tiny ones, again and again, and this is the logic of baby steps that we speak a lot about within NGL, if I consistently choose the one that aligns with the quality I want to develop, I will grow that capacity. So I don't know which one is yours. Is it vulnerability? Is it generosity? Is it showing that you're impacted by things rather than being, oh, I'm okay? I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, it's the tiny microscopic steps. Does that help more concretely?
It does a lot, actually. Thank you. And I think it highlights to me the importance of a community, of a group setting such as this, which is kind of,
Yeah.
You can practice without an audience, or you can practice in the audience,
Yes.
where you're surrounded by the male training, or you can actually practice vulnerability where even if you manage to do it, it is not, I don't know, ignored.
Yes,
So
and the standard that I held for myself is to do it in contexts where I wasn't at all sure that it would be well received.
mhm.
I wanted to take the risk that I would get the humiliation, the rejection, the shaming, all the things that I was afraid of, because of which I became protective. And I remember some incidents where it happened. It's huge to grow that capacity. There are no guarantees on the journey. Thank you, Philip. And
Thank you.
I want to tell you that it's not quite ready, but it's coming soon, within the next few months. I think there will be something that will be offered to men by men about male training. Yeah,
Thank you. Exciting.
yeah. Thanks. Just want to breathe, because it's all super intense stuff, looking at capacity and limitations and opening and all of that. So I want to be with it for a second before inviting Natalie. I'll let you know when I'm ready, Natalie. I think what I'm sitting with is a familiar combination of a sense of it's so simple and so difficult, both. And the hugeness of the gap brings up a lot of grief that I want to be with, rather than override to talk with the next person. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Natalie.
It changes a bit the energy. It was around Rachel's comment, so I'm not sure if there's others who wanted to kind of add to what you're sharing right now before.
Thank you. Thank you for the sensitivity. Is there anything within this energetic field that anybody wants to add right now? Daniel.
Yeah, I just wanted to add my deep mourning around this, because I see men all around me not having access to it, and it's just so devastating for me, being a male and having somehow partially escaped whatever was in me that gave me the power not to succumb completely to it. It's so disheartening and so sad to see this gap daily in my friends and my male friends.
Yeah.
And
Oof.
not have the access to their feelings, and
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to express my mourning around this, which is really alive at the moment.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Fabienne, still within this thread? No, another one. Okay, then Natalie.
Yeah, I wanted to add to Rachel's comments around and you all's conversation around moving from the interpersonal to the systemic. And I wanted to add an additional pathway or another opportunity, especially if you're working with couples. So I'm a mediator, but I'm a really like macro level thinking. And so when I decided to exit capitalism, I was like imagining like what are the systems, global systems that you can shift, right? But the opportunities that present themselves are really micro, right? So like a couple, a group of 5, you know. And so introducing the systemic lens has like multiple benefits to a mediation or to, I'm imagining, a therapy. But a pathway that I also found it useful for is that it opens up opportunities in other spaces. So for example, and this is really anecdotal, something happened to a couple at a conference, right? So they come to me to help resolve the disagreements between them. But in untangling the systemic, they realized that there was a lot about the policies and the context in which that issue arose that contributed to this. And so their interpersonal work opened up an opportunity for me to engage with the conference organizers' systems to help support, prevent other issues or other couples experiencing the same thing. And so, you know, while this is kind of just a one-time thing, just kind of looking this opportunity, and this didn't even include all the participants of the initial mediation, right? So like the pathway continues even without that initial people, because they've resolved their stuff, right? And so, yeah, it's been kind of interesting to see how to shift policies within organizations, starting with an interpersonal interaction, and then looking at kind of more, maybe not macro, but meso levels.
Yeah, and this is an example of where conscious expansion of capacity actually creates new openings that would not be there otherwise. Yeah, thank you. Fabienne, new topic altogether?
Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me. No, it's just that I wanted to say something, but I feel that tonight I don't have the capacity to speak as I would like to speak. In the sense that English is too difficult for me tonight, so another time.
Okay. All right. Sad to hear that because I enjoy talking with you. But such is the reality today. So, who else is here that's not been here before and would like to say what brought you here?
Hi.
So we could, oh, can you pronounce your name for me?
Hoshen.
Ah, I think I have a guess about where you're from now that I heard you.
Yes, I am from there.
Yeah.
Well, I came here today because I am a friend of and living with right now Noga Head.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and basically I decided to be here as a way of creating greater connection with her. That's
because the work we're doing here is meaningful in her life.
Yeah, and I wanted to be introduced to it.
Thank you. And as you read the description of the event, what stood out to you?
Well, to be honest, I have not took the time to think about it so much. It stood out to me that it's a long title.
Yes. And from what is happening so far today, we're about halfway through our time together. Is anything speaking to you that you would like to get into more?
Well, your conversation with Philip was the most impactful on me. Yeah, I don't follow everything, especially if it's like some, not words, but like things that I don't understand, like titles of things that I might not know about. So I kind of am not following sometimes, but in this particular subject, it really affects me in an emotional level. So I was able to feel a part of it and be impacted by that.
Is there anything from within that you would like to explore briefly in terms of your own capacity to do what you are here to do from life?
Well, I think it's something that arose even before that, from even your starting phrases, talking about capacity, about the, like, from wanting change to the inability of changing, and the helplessness in between. And yeah, it's like you were talking about mourning, and what arose with me is like, where does it end? Like, because I sometimes look at these feelings as like pitfalls that I can kind of like not be able to help myself out of.
I think this is one of the mythologies that keeps people from even going towards mourning, the sense that it's infinite. In my experience, there's actually body wisdom. And the body wisdom is the body knows how much intense feeling it can hold when that's allowed. The tragedy is if you fight against the feeling, it becomes more complicated, more difficult, and you don't actually get the benefit of the mourning. If you fully surrender to the feeling, there is this thing of where the body knows how much it can handle. And then the wave comes, it goes through you, and it's done. Not as in you are done mourning. You're done mourning what you can mourn in this moment. And if you do that with really deep surrender, then depending on how habituated you are or how deep you go or how this or that, sometimes you feel the renewed energy right away. Sometimes 3 minutes of crying just gives you a boost of energy. And sometimes you will feel completely spent at the end, and it will take a day or two before you suddenly have like this new insight of like, oh, I could do X, which you never thought about before. And you might not even connect it to the morning that you did. But my experience is pretty reliable if I give myself to it and don't fight it and don't question, can I, is it too much or whatever, and just surrender to body wisdom. I don't recall a single time in which I didn't benefit from mourning.
It's a big if for me.
Yes, this goes back to male training. Male training is concentrated against doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One of the things that you can do on the physical plane, first of all, try to do it not alone, especially if it's new to you. On the physical plane is something really simple. Make sounds. The making of sounds supports the body in moving the feeling through.
Yeah, I was going to say, but for some reason didn't. I was going to say it's difficult for me. It sounds like a difficult thing alone. It is. I do have this like different experience, of course.
Beautiful. Glad that you have support. All right, Natalie again.
And I've spoken before, so I'm okay not speaking again. But yeah, I really want to connect with Hoshems because from like coming from a person who doesn't feel and then trying to learn how to feel, I could relate to the uselessness of it initially, and then the uselessness, and how time consuming it is, and just how draining and exhausted it is. So I just want you to say that it does get better, and eventually you kind of make it more tailored and you find utility it is. But initially, like this big cries also landed as like a waste of time and energy. Yeah. Just want to say that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there's one more person, Jupong Lin. Are you here? I don't
Yes.
think we met before, have we?
No, this is my very first time to anything with you.
Welcome, 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 welcome. Right
Thank you.
poof, in the center of
Yes.
structureless exploration. How are you doing so far?
Pretty good. Well, I'm here because I'm an artist and newly a playwright. I wrote a play about Gaza and South Africa's genocide case against Israel. And there's a lot of poetry, some of my poetry, and a lot of poetry of Palestinian poets. And
wow.
It's a very intense, emotional play. And it came out of a project that a Palestinian American artist and I started last November, called Peace Birds, where we printed pre-1948 maps of Palestine on paper and patterns of the kafia and biblical text about the dove as a symbol of peace in Arabic, Hebrew, and English. And we gather communities to fold peace birds, and then we create these installations. And making art and making theater is how I've been able to navigate this past year. And I'm suddenly speechless.
Pause then. Pause. I think what you've shared is massive so far. I don't know anyone here. So it's intense to share something of that magnitude without knowing anyone. So it makes total sense to me that you would suddenly go like, oh my God, I've said all these things. Now what?
Yeah.
So just pause and see if there's anything you would like. Just feel inside. Is there anything you would like from me or anyone else that might give you whatever you came here for? Because I heard this story, but I don't know how to connect it to you being here. I'm not asking you to make the connection. I'm asking you to only see what you want right now. It's one of the things that we most don't know how to do. What do I want right now? Every baby knows it. But most of us adults don't.
What I'm sitting with is I need to go to we just put the installation up in a new space and at a gallery, and Mona has done most of the installing, and she needs my help to get up on the ladder, so she's asked me to go out there, and it's just bringing up a lot of feelings about how we work together. You know, we've done this amazing thing. We've brought, the play was incredible. The performances were last weekend, and somehow I feel so upset with her. I feel I don't like her process. I don't like the way that I don't rhythmically and energetically, I don't do things the way she does. And there's this feeling of, we talked about helplessness. There's this helplessness
in you,
in her that I sense, and it's like I want to go and help her with this installation, but I'm feeling resentful. I'm like,
okay,
this is my birthday weekend. Yeah.
Let's look at this through the capacity lens. First of all, the things that I'm seeing is right at the moment, you don't have the capacity to offer her the support that she is requesting. You don't actually have it. It's not whether she's right or you are right or this is right or that is wrong. It doesn't matter. All that right, wrong thing doesn't help us one bit to know what to do. Just if we just look at the reality, she has expressed a need for support. And at the moment, you don't have the capacity to offer it. I'm wondering if just looking at it like this offers even a microscopic amount of relief, even tiny, tiny bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I think I've been feeling sort of resentful because what she is asking for seems to be, it's not actually what she wants and needs. She's asking me to go hold the ladder. But what it feels like she really needs, she needs emotional support, and she needs maybe a kind of emotional support that, as you said, I don't feel like I have the capacity to offer.
Okay. So one of my deep principles is I never assume that I know anything about what is going on inside another person. Never. Whenever I work with anyone about anything, I take what they say about themselves at face value. This is a big strength of mine and also sometimes a limitation, because every once in a while I get burned. And I consciously prefer to get burned every once in a while to have the strength that it gives me with people to take them at face value. So the way I would reframe what you just said, that I think would increase capacity for both of you, is to say this. She's telling me that she needs my support with the ladder, and I don't know how to manage the confusion in me that arises from believing that there's something missing from what she's saying. That takes full responsibility for the situation. Do you feel the difference?
Yeah.
That you can tell her. You can tell her, you're asking me for support with the ladder. What I'm picking up is something else. I'm not going to presume that what I'm picking up is accurate, but I am picking it up and it's noise within me. So I'm bringing it to you. Please look inside. Is there anything you sense inside that might match what I'm sensing? If not, do you have any way to help me with why am I picking this up? If it's not there, why am I picking it up? Do you think you can help me? Sometimes a person could say in a situation like this, oh, there's XYZ going on inside of me. It's not at all what you think, but I can see how XYZ will map to what you're picking up. And then you are aligned. But the capacity increase that you need as collaborators is the capacity to co-hold difficulties between you. It looks like right now you don't have that.
Yeah.
Now, if she was here, I would talk with her. She's not here. Because she's not here, the rigor of the capacity lens says the only change that's possible is in you. Not because that's right or fair. It doesn't matter. It's because she's not here and you are. So then the question is, can you increase your capacity to navigate this so that your collaboration, which has so much meaning and beauty to it on so many levels, can flourish? Do you want to do that? Can you find within you the resolve to say, whatever she does or doesn't do, I can increase my capacity and that will change the relationship? Feel inside if that is something that exists as an option in you. Because if it doesn't, then we can't go that way. Then we need to go some other way. But see if it's there.
Yeah. The piece about confusion, noticing the confusion in me, that's really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me see if there's any other bit that I can offer you in support. There's one other thing that is coming to me. I don't know her, obviously. By virtue of being Palestinian at this time, statistically, her capacity will be completely crushed.
Yeah.
Any Palestinian in the world that exists now, as well as any Israeli for completely different reasons. Leaving that aside, I just don't want to make it look like it's only happening to the Palestinian. Every war completely compromises the capacity of everyone, and the division into victim and perpetrator doesn't help one bit for that. But that aside, every Palestinian in the world right now, it would be astonishing if their capacity is not totally collapsed somewhere. So is it possible for you, even with the resentment that you feel in this other place, is it possible for you to fill your inner space with tenderness for her? Right now, in this moment. If so, just hang out in that tenderness for a few seconds and see what arises from there as a possible step. I can't decide it for you. I don't know you or her.
I feel a lot of grief.
Yeah. Feel it. Just feel it. You have an extraordinary opportunity to feel grief with a whole bunch of people who don't know you. And I don't know, I can't say for every single one of them, but by and large, I think their energy is oriented towards you. Take it in. Feel the grief. Feel it. Just feel it. And you'll know when to speak. Don't rush it. Don't stop it. Don't try to make it linger. Just be with it until it passes. And you know what to say. We'll hang out here.
I love Mona.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's all.
So now you'll figure out what to do next. And I just want to take one more step and see if there's anyone from people who've been around for a while, around the, NGL, responding to the call of our times, whatever, who has some awareness of these processes, who wants to offer support to Jupong after this time. Is there anyone who is called to do that? Dylan? So please, if you want that, you can connect on the chat. Anyone else? Hey, so you got support. And two things before we close. One is I want to tell you that I'm profoundly honored to have been trusted in this way in this dialogue. It's really quite amazing and nourishing for me as a human being, especially as a human being from Israel. I don't know if you know that I am from Israel. Did you know that? I just a couple of days ago finished writing a 35-page article about war in general, about this war and what a nonviolent response to it could look like, that I'm still digesting, like, okay, now that I've written it, what's the thing to do with it? I want to edit it, but I really want to think about where to take it, because I wanted to actually influence what is happening. So I'm just profoundly honored, and I hope that this is not the last time we engage with each other.
It won't be.
I'm glad. And I would like to ask a couple of people to see if you could share with Jupong whatever was moved in you that you received from this interaction. I think Aurora is one of them.
I can go ahead. I'm touched, and so it's
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you, because I see it.
yeah, I guess it's just sharing the grief. And I appreciate the listening of your body, and also hearing what you need.
Yeah. Thank you. Noor?
Yes, I'm driving, so my video's off right now, but I wanted to
I'm
say
glad that while you're driving, your video's off. I want you alive for a few more years.
I know how much you like to see our faces, so I wanted to tell you so that you understand. But yeah, I wanted to say, to your grief, you found this space to connect with and shared with, and it moved me into, I just was touched by that. I was touched by that, and the remembrance that we have a part of us that can have resentment, and also have a part of us that has love for another, and to remember that different parts can exist, and to connect with like the wholeness of it. So I was moved by that, and your willingness to expose yourself in a space where this is new for you, and Mickey's new, we're all new to you, or many of us maybe, and the trust inherent in that. I was really, I felt closer to you through your sharing.
Thanks, Noor. And I have one more thing. In 1995, I had a conversation with someone. And in that conversation, I understood a form of privilege that until that day wasn't clear to me, which is the privilege of knowing with clarity what is mine to do. He had it at that time. I was mightily struggling with like, what is mine to do? To care for whatever is. And it's a blessing that you are so clear. You know what is yours to do. You know it and you do it. And there is a kind of self-trust that radiates from you. Like you know it, you're doing it. You are neither boasting nor diminishing it. You're just speaking of it and it lives in you. It's very inspiring to witness. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. All right. I think I'd like to invite you all to be in groups for a little bit. Maybe some 10 minutes. I'm being greedy about our time together, so I'm kind of trying to shrink the groups. Does anybody want a full 15 minutes? So I'm kind of wanting to come back as soon as possible, but I also want you the time. Is there anyone who wants to advocate for 15? If so, I'm happy to do that. All right, then. Tech support.
The rooms.
And the rooms are ready? Okay. I would like to take the opportunity to hang out with the two of you, Heather and Kirsten, on unrelated topics, if you would welcome that.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
Okay.
So
I'm inviting everyone that has a breakout sign into room 1. If you could please accept your invitation. And if you're in a room and no one joins you, just give me a minute and I'll notice and I'll shift someone into your room or I'll shift you into another room. Okay, so I have the room set up for 10 minutes and with a 1-minute countdown after that before you come back so you can finish what you're in the middle of. Okay, there you go. 10 minutes.
Where do I go?
We are in the main space.
Okay.
But you know, I can move us into room 4. Just let me see 1 minute.
And then Ian stays in the main space and helps people who.
Yeah. So maybe we can go into room 2.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, Ian, you're okay with helping people when they need help?
Oh, yes, I am.
You see, okay. You're seeing the rooms, Ian?
Yeah, I see those. Yeah.
Okay, and Bachmar, Melissa, if you need support getting into the rooms, then Ian's your man. Okay.
So, and we wanting
to
Maybe you can pause the recording.
That's normal.
Hello, we are back. And I would like to see what we have. What is it? 23 minutes on the clock based on the agreement we made. I very much want to keep this agreement because I have only a half an hour break and then I have something else. So I would like to maybe speak with a couple more people before we close with whatever arose in your small group or anything else that is alive that you would like us to discuss within the topic of very broad topic that this event is about. Floor is open. Reminder for everyone, if at all possible, please turn on your camera. Nor please don't. I want you alive. There's still people I've never met, I think. I don't know because I don't have Lori's face, but I don't have a memory of that name. Have we met?
I've attended a few of your workshops. I never asked a question.
Are you ready now to say what brought you here today and see if anything
Sure.
interesting arises from that?
Yeah, well, I always enjoy your talks, so I came because you were the speaker. And what I really liked, what I learned today was find out what you were shamed out of doing and practice doing it.
Oh, nice. I like the way you're framing it.
Like, I'm white and American, so I was shamed out of acting Black, and I was shamed out of acting mentally ill and shamed out of acting like a kid. So I think that would be fabulous to practice that. And maybe I'd like to join a group where we can all practice it to get support. And also I liked what you said about boredom, because I teach for free NVC 3 times a week on Zoom at a volunteer organization. And people show up the first time and they go, this is wonderful. This is like life-changing. And then they never show up again. And I'm thinking, what can I change so that people show up? So those are 2 things I got out of it.
Thank you. I want to speak to the last one, if I may.
Sure.
A few weeks ago, someone who's not here today said in one event, she said that after the first time that she came to something that I was doing, she almost didn't come back because the pain that she experienced as a 75-year-old from grasping the things that I said and seeing what she hasn't done in all these years was so debilitating. That was really helpful for me to understand. So it's possible that some version of this is happening for people when you present to them but if they say this is life-changing, you're probably presenting NVC at a level deep enough that it's not like change this word or that word. It's like orient differently to how you live and to other people and to life and to what is happening in the world and everything. When you do that, people see the potential. If they don't have anything to anchor them from that in a new way, it becomes overwhelming. It's like there's I'm going to use for a moment a technical term from philosophy that was coined by a Scottish philosopher. His name is Alistair MacIntyre.
Okay.
The term is epistemological crisis. That's a very big term, but it's fabulous. I don't know how to make it different. And the way he frames it is, if this is true, what I just found out, what you just said or whatever, if this is true, then everything else that I ever thought I knew isn't. It's too much for me to bridge. So I'm going to discard this new knowledge and retreat to what I used to know before so I can live without cognitive dissonance.
Totally get it.
What that means and what a lot of people forget because, I mean, Helen teaches NVC. I'm sure you've encountered this phenomenon. I don't know who else teaches NVC. So I forgot to turn off the chat, so I saw it. Epistemological crisis. Yeah. So what I would do if somebody says this is a life-changing experience is I will help them unpack it. Like, what is it changing? What's the challenge for you to make that change happen and anchor it? Is it overwhelming for you? Do you feel any resistance within you to this change? Let's guess, what is the need in that resistance? How can we care for that resistance? What are strategies that we can put in place? Practical strategies, A, B, C, to keep the change within capacity for you. So you don't try to do everything or do nothing because it's too much. So that you have one thing that you're going to do this week before we meet again, or whatever. Something like that. Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
This was super fun. Like, poof, pointed. Yeah, it's like if you look at a baby, let's say, who is starting to learn to walk. They just take a step and then they fall. And then they just like recover from that. Takes a while. Then it's like, okay, I'll try again. Maybe now I can do 2 steps. No, still only 1 step. Oops, I fell again. If they haven't been tampered with, which most 1-year-olds have, but if they haven't been tampered with at all, they're going to be fine with it. Sometimes they're going to fall and hurt themselves, and then they're going to cry, and you're going to be with them, and they will integrate whatever happened, and then try again. We don't give that space to ourselves and to other adults. Like, we're supposed to be able to learn and just do it. Thank you. We will never again have the first conversation. It already happened.
Thank you.
All right. Any follow-up from this? Helen, anything for you as you reflect on this?
Well, I took notes, and I think I'm going to want to watch the recording to write down the questions that you asked, because I found
Oh yeah,
them.
that was that I thought about it when they came out. It's like, oh, anyone who teaches NVC, maybe you want to rewind and listen to this and write down those questions. They just came out of me. Yeah.
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 I don't know that I don't remember being conscious of, what you've just pointed out. And I think it's very likely that it is happening to people who don't show up again. And I just was oblivious to it. So
Yeah, there was, when I first started, I had a practice group that went on for a few years. And there was a woman that was coming. And half the time she left in the middle, like just walked out. And I thought, okay, that's it. She's not going to come back. But then she would come back. And I didn't understand it. And finally, one day we sat down to try to understand what's going on. Why does she leave? And we understood that she had 2 needs. One was learning, and one was spontaneity. And when she was practicing, we had an agreement then. When she was practicing, I would ask her, what do you want to prioritize now? Learning or spontaneity? If what she wanted to prioritize for spontaneity, I wasn't giving her any coaching. She just did whatever the role play was that she wanted to do, and it was done. And if she had space, she asked me for feedback. She never left again. She left because I was coaching her when it wasn't a fit for her. She wanted the learning, but not all the time, every time. You know me, I'm relentless. Yeah. Alper Yaren, anything for you? Also, now you are particularly doing some NVC. I know you're hearing me.
I think what was somehow a good reminder, reinforcement is it's simple, this recipe of focusing on the strengths and openings and doing what's within capacity for the limitations that are blocking me, and not dwelling too much on them, because that itself becomes the block in the end.
Yeah. And forget about the obstacles. Just forget about the obstacles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was wondering about whether there was anything within the NVC specific thread.
That specific thread. Okay, I didn't get that. Okay.
Because you're starting now this series.
Yeah. One session, and I wasn't a lot there. I think I probably would have more because he was there. But yeah, I think I'm connecting with connecting to the importance of connecting with the why people are there, and like actually fully being able to receive people or connecting with people on that level as well as what we want to transfer or
there's one more thing that is popping, and I don't know if it's relevant to you, which is in our eagerness, especially early on when we are sharing NVC with others, we are likely to guess needs that we want people to have, not the ones that they have. Like, for example, my favorite example is a father says, this won't work with my son. And an eager NVC trainer will guess, you really want this to work with your son? That is not what the guy is saying. Yeah, it's the need that we want them to have, but it's not the need they actually have. Yeah. Hello, Maya May. All right, so let's move to closing. What are some things that people are taking with them from having been here? Noor?
Yeah, couple things. One, every moment with a human is a moment of grace. Another, I'm putting in as a contemplation question for myself in the form of the last Byron Katie inquiry question, which is, who would I be without either instrumentalizing or seeing another human as an obstacle to getting my needs met? So I love that. And then I also wanted to just say, it was really interesting to me when you talked about like domination training and how like when someone's in dominant, like with that training, you have to you get kind of cut off from a sense of your humanity, and how that training is more brutal than subordination training or internalized subordination.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't need to fully disconnect from your humanity. Just enough to not stand up for yourself, but not enough to dehumanize others.
Oh, and I wanted to say your relentlessness, I think, is a form of strength and resilience. So I wanted to offer that reframe.
Oh yeah, sure. It's that too, but it's not sufficiently attuned to where people are. It's a limitation of mine. I am much better than I used to be, but I'm not fully attuned to where people are, and I can sometimes overwhelm people. I know that. Thank you. Yep. Anyone else? What are you taking with you? Ahmed, what was it like to be here?
Overwhelming, I would say.
Overwhelming.
I was just reminded why I prefer to listen to
Oh,
audio or
right,
video.
because you said that you need pauses and times to be able to actually be and process with yourself. And I'm really sad because I actually was trying to make a mental note of pause from time to time and see if you needed any support to process whatever was happening, and then I forgot because other people spoke.
That's fine. You should, go with your flow, and I will catch up eventually.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Tech support.
I really like you shared about taking people at their word, and I share that. I do the same. And it's in one example, like when people give me a yes and I don't sense it's a full yes, I'm comfortable saying that, like I'm hearing the yes, but I'm not sensing a full yes. But in other circumstances, when it's not a yes or no, or I really appreciate the wording that you gave, because I kind of muddle around it, like to get more clarity. So I really appreciate, like, I'm sensing this inner confusion, and to have, to look for the other to look within about why, helping me understand why that might be without making an assumption that my sense is accurate. So I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a very, very, very delicate line of neither assuming that I'm accurate nor discarding my intuition. I don't want to discard my intuition. I want to use it as information without making assumptions about it. Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. Anyone else? What are you taking with you? Michelle.
Hello, Mickey. I have really appreciated the topics around mourning today, and just at how big this this undertaking is, in a sense that NGL yourself, as a visionary, and then myself, kind of just the more that I take in, I feel very impacted and affected, just by that. And then also complemented with at the end this, related to the MBC integration, I feel it's directly applicable for me to just, it gives me a bit more of a kindness and a gentleness with myself as I do take this in, and there's mourning in certain areas that I feel become like immediately clear, and I feel I need to like pace myself in a way just to chew on it and integrate, and I'm very grateful, and I continue to be very touched, but it does feel like it is big. I feel its bigness in me. Yeah. So I appreciate, and I feel more increasingly the value and import of having, community or, around that holding as well. So
Thank you. I saw something fly in the chat, and I want to say it, that there's always an invitation for anyone, if it's within capacity for you, to please gift us more money. We are all completely sustained by gifts. Every bit of the work within NGL is sustained by gifts that come from others. So if you have the capacity, please do it. Aurora.
Oof. I'm just taking away today a lot of mourning, but there's a sense joy with it. So it feels good to be mourning a lot. Yeah.
Yes, because it's opening to life. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Unless there's anyone else who wants to share, we'll say goodbye. Bye-bye.